giving Oregon. How are we looking? Hopefully this is bright enough. So I am signed by Sony Alpha, meaning I am part of their ambassador program, which is essentially a collective of photographers that they have handpicked to be a part of a team to kind of showcase everything that is Sony and what everyone that uses their products is capable of doing. And it's a huge honor to be associated with Sony. But unfortunately, because of touring and my injury and just a lot of personal reasons, I haven't ever been able to attend this incredible event called Kando, which is a gathering of some of the most incredibly talented creatives, photographers, directors, and cinematographers, basically anyone who uses Sony products, Sony cameras to create art, gather together for a 4-day event, including panels, photo shoots, good food, good hangs, fun events, and just an all-around good time. This was my experience at Sony Kando, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So day one at Kando was interesting. We got there and the first thing we did was went up to the top of this incredible mountain with this crazy view overlooking all of Snowbird and the valley in Utah, and it was really spectacular. They had a bunch of different activations up top that we could take photos of, like helicopters or models, and just a bunch of random setups that we could all sit around and kind of take photos, which was really exciting and interesting. What's happening right now? Where are we?
We are about to fall off of a mountain.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not.
We're not gonna fall.
We're not gonna fall.
Specifically Sony, and it's gonna be a mirrorless Sony camera.
This is what being in a photographer expo is like. And everyone wants a shot with this right here.
These first photos that I'm showcasing were all shot on the Contax T2. First night I only brought a film camera up there because I really just kind of wanted to get a vibe for what the trip was going to be like and who was actually there and who I knew and who I didn't know. So I kind of just brought a film camera to kind of chat and talk to everyone and get the vibe for what the rest of the week was going to be like.
This is my blog.
It's your blog?
It's my camera.
Oh, okay, what camera do you got? What are you rocking here? CV1?
It's my camera now. I stole it.
You stole your...
I stole it. He doesn't know. Let's go.
Okay.
We're stealing the camera.
You're stealing the camera, not me. You are.
But you're complicit in it. You're also stealing.
No, I'm stealing the camera.
She's stealing the camera.
I totally steal the camera.
Okay, Jake's coming. Hi. Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Again, here's some photos from on top of the mountain. This is Dane and Greg, two of my really close friends and honestly incredible photographers that I look up to tremendously, as well as Phil and Sal. These are also two of my close friends that are also a part of the collective. So it's fun to get to hang out with them. We really just hung out on top of this mountain and waited for the sun to go down. And I have to say, this is kind of when I realized how fun the trip was going to be, because the vibes were just so high and everyone was interacting with each other so well, and it was just such a good time. So the next morning, I actually opened up this bag that Sony gave me, and it was filled of a bunch of goodies. So let's just go through that real quickly. So first up, they got us this dope Peak Design bag, which is branded with the Sony Alpha logo, which is really cool. All right, let's open it up. First thing in here is a Sony crew. On the back, it says, filling the world with emotion. And then it has all the old Kando trips on here. That's pretty rad. Kando's Sony Kando t-shirt. Just has the Sony logo. We got this. I can already feel myself losing breath at this altitude. We're pretty high up here at the ski resort. So we got a extendable water bottle we got sunscreen, which electrolyte drink mix. Stay salty, my friends. Hydrate. I can already feel the altitude. Holy. Let's see what's in here. We got a Yes Bar, a lip brightener, Sony Alpha sticker. We got a pocket latte. That's kind of cool. Thank you, Sony. Oh, there's more in here. We have this blanket, which is Sony Kando Trip branded. That's really cool. With the tram that we're taking to dinner tonight. It's a really nice bag. Thank you guys, appreciate it. For some reason, I could not sleep very well last night, but that's okay because this morning, Sony released 3 new products, 2 new cameras and 1 new lens, and they have given it to me to try out, and I'm very excited. So basically the rest of the day, I really just took around this camera and documented what my day was like. Not a lot of photography taken, but a ton of video. I shot all of this on the Helios 442, and I'm taken back by how well this compact camera performed. I mean, the whole selling point of this camera is that it is essentially a compact R5. I got to try out the A7CR. I'm going to do a full review on this camera. So if you guys want to subscribe to the channel to make sure that you don't miss out on that video, please be sure to do it. But essentially, this is what the campus looked like. They had a creator tent with a bunch of activations, like you can make your own hat. They obviously had coffee on deck, as well as a barista making espresso. They had dances going on that you could be a part of. They had an oxygen bar, a Gran Turismo activation where you can actually try to drive the cars. I try to do this thing called paint marbling, where you kind of like imprint paint onto a paper. I don't know, that was really fun. This guy took some of the most famous photos of Bob Marley you have ever seen. He was there, as well as the person that took this photo of Muhammad Ali. Absolutely spectacular, and I can't believe I got to meet him. Honestly, he's one of the reasons that I got into photography, so that was a really exciting moment for me. This place was absolutely gorgeous. Everywhere you looked was just like a photo op waiting to be taken, and there was a lot of opportunity to just create images and interact with people and just kind of make really dope stuff with a bunch of great creatives that were just there to do that, network and create with each other. So at dinner that night, they had all these models out and about. Here's Greg taking some photos of this beautiful model and just a beautiful scenery, and the whole thing was just spectacular. I love how these video clips turned out. I think this really kind of captivates what the night was like that night, so really happy with that. I mean, it's hard to beat a sparkly silver dress in bright sunshine. It just gives off such a unique look. So again, this day was mostly just taking a bunch of video clips to kind of document my experience. And then it was nighttime, and the next day it was time to hit the ground running once again. This day was much more photography focused. There was a bunch of activations on the premise that kind of allowed you to rent out a time slot to work with a model or work with models. So they had all these really, really cool backdrops and areas that we could take photographs. So had to do that. There's my friend Silva. If you guys do not know him, his work is incredible. Go and give him a follow. And then we just kind of shot these photos of this model in a beautiful like red dress with this green background. It's crazy how many models they actually had available to us to be able to kind of like rent out a time slot and work with. So me and my friend worked these two models to create kind of like a dual look type of situation. And then when I was coming back later that afternoon, my friend Jessica was at a shoot and I had to get some stuff for her. I shot a couple video clips for her. There will probably be a video about the fastest photo shoot to ever happen coming out briefly, but these are by far some of my favorite photos I took. The look of this model, as well as the backdrop and just the lighting was hard to beat. Again, I'm obsessed with motion in my photography recently, so trying to showcase that movement and that, I don't know, it gives some sort of vulnerability to my photography, I feel like. So I really enjoyed these photos and how they turned out. For sure my favorite photos from the whole trip. Here's Jessica talking about how quickly that we had to do this photo shoot. She literally only had like 5 minutes, and then people were pressing her to use the backdrop, which was absolutely incredible that this model was able to work that quickly. So later that night, we took a tram all the way up to the top of the mountain once again, and we made it just in time for sunset. And I have to say that this was kind of like the icing on the cake for the whole weekend. Some of these photos and experiences are things that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And look at that lens Dave is using. It's a 400 to 600, I believe. And it's like a $13,000 lens. He was joking about being able to photograph a blade of grass instead of trying to get the landscape. So that was pretty spectacular. Here's some photos from the tram ride up, just of Dave and Silva doing their thing, taking photographs, getting ready for the sunset. I asked Dave to kind of be my model for a little bit. So this is him just kind of walking about, looking cool on top of the mountain. And the color palette here is just stunning. I mean, even just for video, but the photos alone also crushed it. The photos give such like a unique vibe, and it's just, again, like such a good time just shooting sunset and interacting with a bunch of like-minded creatives doing their things.
Oh boy, I got some cool stuff, yeah. It's been nice. Trusting nature a little too much with no coat on right now.
Yeah, I'm a little frigid boy as well.
Ill prepared, gang.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, I tell you. Oh shit.
I had to jump in while Greg and Dane were shooting this model and get a couple photos in, so had to do that. And I have to say that these photos are some of my favorites as well. I mean, they're so moody and so dark, but the situation was like so bright and vibrant. I don't know if that makes sense. They're kind of contradicting each other, where like the edits are kind of really dark and grainy and moody, but the backdrop is just so beautiful and stunning, and as well as like a beautiful model that knows what she's doing to help kind of just bring the moment full circle. I don't know, I really love these images.
I can barely breathe up here. I don't like it. The altitude. I think we're at 11,000 feet, but Kando day 3.
And then here's a couple more of my new friend Eric took these on top of the mountain, and again, obsessed with motion in my photos, so you know I had to get that, as well as just some really classic landscapes on top of Snowbird. Now this tram is gorgeous. These are some of my favorite video clips from the whole trip, so love those, as well as the Blue Hour photography vibes. Just you can't really beat that either. Now we just kind of stayed up here until the sun went down, and as it set, I saw this kind of like situation between my friends Greg and Dane, just kind of waiting for the sun to go down, and had to set them up on top of this car and take these photos, and I'm really happy with how they turned out.
I want to take you there? No.
So something interesting was that there was also a supermoon, or the blue supermoon or something like that, on top of this mountain, so we did get to photograph that. So I took some video clips before we went down of the mountain. This was all handheld, which is kind of spectacular. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm very, very thankful again for Sony for bringing me out, flying me out to Utah, putting me up in an amazing hotel, and just taking care of me. You guys have been huge supporters of mine for a long time now, and especially since my injury, you guys have helped out a lot. So thank you so much. I'm so proud to be a part of Team Sony, and I can't wait to work with you guys more down the road. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope maybe one year I can see you at Sony Kando. Oh, I'll talk to you later. Bye.